The prisoner in chains who can kill with a touch. The space station floated silently above the dead moon. It looked peaceful from the outside, but inside, everyone was afraid. They called it Cell Mine. No one wanted to go near Cell Mine. Not the guards, not the scientists. Even the captain stayed far away. A young human engineer named Liam was walking down the long metal hallway. His hands were shaking. He had a small repair kit in one hand and a scanner in the other. "You sure you want to do this?" a guard asked him, his voice low. "I don't have a choice," Liam replied. "The door's energy lock is broken. If it fails completely, she could get out." The guard swallowed hard. "Just don't let her touch you." Liam nodded, but he was scared. He had heard the stories. Everyone had. The prisoner inside Cell Mine was not just any alien. She was something different. Something dangerous. They said she could kill with a single touch. Her name was Elira. No one knew where she came from. Some said she was made in a lab. Others believed she was a weapon from an alien war. All they knew was that every person she touched died instantly. No wound, no pain, just death. And now, Liam was standing in front of her cell. The energy lock was blinking red. It was weak, fading. He had to fix it before it failed. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. The door was made of thick glass, with blue lights pulsing around it. Inside, he saw her. She was sitting quietly in the corner of the cell. Her skin was pale silver, and her long hair flowed like white smoke. Her eyes were closed. She looked calm, almost peaceful. Liam stared. He expected a monster, a beast, but she looked like a girl. Maybe his age, maybe younger. Suddenly, her eyes opened. Silver, bright, not angry, just watching. Liam froze. She stood up slowly. No chains, no cuffs. She didn't need them. No one wanted to be close enough to chain her. She walked to the glass. Her bare feet made no sound. Then she smiled. Liam's heart pounded. Why was she smiling? "You're not a soldier," she said softly. Her voice was clear, like wind on water. "I'm here to fix the lock," Liam replied, trying to sound brave. She tilted her head. "You're scared." "Shouldn't I be?" She didn't answer. He bent down and opened a small panel near the floor. The wires were burned. Sparks jumped out. He pulled out a tool and started working. As he worked, she knelt on the other side of the glass, watching him. "What's your name?" she asked. "Liam." "Liam," she repeated. "No one ever talks to me." He didn't know what to say. "Why haven't you killed me?" he asked suddenly. "You could. Right now." She looked at her hand, then back at him. "I don't want to," she whispered. That scared him more than anything. He finished fixing the wires and stood up. The lights turned green. The lock was stable again. "Thank you," she said. "Don't thank me," Liam replied. "I'm just doing my job." He started to walk away. But then something sparked again. He turned quickly, and his tool slipped from his hand, landing just inside the cell door. "Damn," he muttered. He looked at the guard station. No one there. He looked at her. She was watching. He reached to grab the tool, but the door made a strange sound. Click. The panel opened just a bit. Liam pulled back fast, but the tool was still there, and he needed it. Elira looked at the tool, then at him. Then she reached down and picked it up. She walked to the glass, held it up. "Take it," she said. Liam stared at her hand. "Take it," she repeated. "I won't hurt you." He didn't move. "You already stepped close. You already talked to me. If I wanted you dead, you would be." He slowly reached out and took the tool from her hand. Her fingers touched his. Nothing happened. No pain, no burning, no death, just warmth. His eyes widened. She smiled again. But this time, It looked sad. See, she whispered. Not everyone dies. The alien assassin who didn't kill the human. For hours after Liam left cell 9, he couldn't stop thinking about her hand. Her touch. Nothing happened. He had expected pain, death, something. But all he felt was a strange warmth, like sunlight through a window on a cold day. How could this be? Every record, every file, every warning said the same thing. Do not touch her. She is death. But Liam touched her. She touched him. And he was still alive. Later that night, while most of the space station slept, Liam sat alone in the mechanic bay, tools around him, lights dim. His hands trembled as he replayed the moment in his mind. He didn't tell anyone. Not the guard. Not the commander. Not even his best friend in the engine room. Because if anyone knew, they would take her away. Or worse, they would kill her. The next day, Liam walked past cell 9 again. He told himself he was just checking the panel, just making sure the lock was working. But the truth was deeper. He wanted to see her again. He slowed down, looked through the glass. Alira was sitting with her knees pulled to her chest, eyes half closed. Her long silver hair covered part of her face. She looked like someone waiting for the world to end. Liam hesitated, then walked closer. Her eyes opened. She saw him, and smiled. "You came back," she said. "Just to check the lock," he lied. "Liar," she whispered, amused. He tried not to smile. Each day after that, Liam found reasons to pass by her cell. Each time, he stayed a little longer. They talked. About small things at first, how the space station smelled like metal, how the food tasted bad, how humans never looked up at the stars anymore. Then deeper things, memories, pain, loneliness. Alira told him how she was captured. "I wasn't born in a lab," she said one day. "I was taken." Liam blinked. Taken? From where? "My home. I was just a child. They said I was special. They trained me to kill. They changed me, made me something else." Her voice shook, but she didn't cry. She never cried. "And your touch? Engineered. My skin reacts to fear. When I was scared, it activated. Later, they made it stronger. Now, even when I'm calm, it's still dangerous. But I've learned control." Liam nodded slowly. "But you didn't kill me." She looked away. "I didn't want to." One day, Liam brought her a gift. It was a small broken music player. He fixed it and loaded it with old Earth songs. "For you," he said, sliding it through the gap. She looked at it like it was a star. "What is it?" "Music. Something. Human. It helped me when I felt alone." She touched it gently. "Thank you." The music played a soft melody. Alira closed her eyes. Her lips moved silently with the words. Liam watched her and felt something shift in his chest. She wasn't a monster. She was a girl in a cage. But outside cell 9, the station was changing. Guards started whispering. Why does the engineer keep visiting her? What if she's controlling him? Maybe he's helping her escape. Liam didn't know they were watching, didn't see the cameras, the reports, the commander's eyes narrowing every time his name came up. One night, a new guard entered the hallway. Tall, cruel. His name was Raxon. He saw Liam leaving cell 9 and smirked. "You like the killer girl?" he asked. "She's not a killer," Liam replied. "Oh, you want to test that?" Raxon pressed a shock button into Liam's chest. "Maybe she's using you." Suddenly, the lights blinked. Cell 9's door flickered. Then, it opened, just slightly. Enough. Alira stepped out. Raxon turned. "Get back." Too late. She touched him. Just a fingertip. He collapsed instantly. No sound. No scream. Dead. Liam stood frozen. Alira looked at him. "I didn't want to," she whispered. But he was going to hurt you. Her hands trembled. I can't always control it. The hallway alarms started to ring. Red lights flashed. Prisoner escape detected. They'll kill you now, Liam said, panic rising. I know, she replied. He grabbed her hand. She flinched. Don't, she said. What if this time it kills you? Then we'll find out together. She was built to destroy. But he taught her something else. The red lights kept flashing across the hallway as the alarm echoed through the station. Guards shouted from every direction. Footsteps pounded on the floors above. And there she was, Elira, the girl with death in her touch, standing outside her cell for the first time in over a year. Liam didn't run. He didn't shout for help. He stood beside her. Even though she had just killed a guard. Even though the alarms screamed danger. Even though touching her could mean death. We have to go, Elira said, her voice calm, but her hands shaking. They'll shoot you on sight. I know, she said. That's what they were trained to do. And what will you do? Liam asked. Kill everyone who comes near. She looked down at her glowing fingertips. No, she whispered. Not anymore. He stared at her. The girl who was supposed to be a monster, a weapon, a living nightmare. But all he saw was someone who didn't want to hurt anyone anymore. He reached out, took her hand. Still, she flinched, but this time, she didn't pull away. And once again, he didn't die. They ran. Through side passages, maintenance tunnels, and empty storage bays, Liam knew every corner of the station. He used to fix it. That knowledge became their map. He led her into the old engine core room. It hadn't been used in years. Dust floated in the air. Wires hung like vines, a perfect hiding spot. They'll scan this room eventually, Elira said, breathing hard. Not if I disable the sensors, Liam replied, already moving to the control panel. You know they'll think I forced you, she said softly. Let them think what they want, he answered. She looked at him, really looked. Her silver eyes were bright but tired. Why are you helping me? He paused. Because I don't think you're a killer. I think someone made you one. Hours passed. The station stayed on full alert. Drones hovered. Guards searched every floor. Inside the engine room, Liam and Elira sat on opposite sides of the dusty space, speaking in whispers. I used to dream of escape, she said. From the cell. From everything. From being what they made me. Liam listened. They told me I was chosen, she continued. They said I was born to end wars. But all I saw were bodies. Silence. People dying just because I touched them. She looked at her hands like they were made of fire. So I stopped touching. And now, she looked up at Liam. You touched me. And I didn't hurt you. I don't understand why. Maybe, Liam said quietly, you weren't made to destroy. Maybe you were made to feel. But they didn't let you. Her eyes filled with something close to tears, but not quite. Do you know the first time anyone gave me a gift? He shook his head. You, she said. The music. Liam smiled gently. You liked it. It was the first sound that didn't hurt. Later that night, Elira stood in front of a cracked mirror on the engine room wall. She looked at herself, at the skin she had always feared, at the eyes that glowed like alien stars. Liam stepped beside her. What do you see? He asked. A weapon, she replied. I see a girl, he said. What kind of girl kills with a touch? Liam thought for a moment, then said, the kind who just saved my life. She looked at him, and for the first time, she laughed. Just a soft, unsure sound. It surprised even her. What was that? She asked. That's called laughing. Liam smiled. Humans do it when they feel safe. She held her hand over her mouth. It feels strange. It's supposed to. Suddenly, the wall panel blinked red. Someone had accessed the engine core controls. They're coming, Liam said. You should leave, she replied. I'm not leaving you. Liam, if they catch us, they'll kill you too. Then we escaped together. How? She asked. Liam opened an old maintenance hatch in the wall. This leads to the cargo bay. If we can reach Bay 3, there's a small ship docked there. It's used for trash runs, but it can fly. Lyra nodded. Then let's go. They crawled through the dark tunnel. Pipes dripped above them. The sound of metal echoed with every move. Behind them, guards entered the engine room. Close. Too close. Just before reaching the cargo bay, they were spotted. There they are, someone shouted. Shots fired. Lyra spun, held her palm out, and a pulse of energy exploded from her body. Not a killing blow, just a shockwave. The guards fell back, stunned. You didn't kill them, Liam whispered. I told you, she said. I'm learning. They reached the small ship. Liam started the engine. It roared to life. As they flew away from the station, alarms blared behind them. Fighters scrambled to follow, but they were too slow. In the silence of space, Liam looked at her. We're not safe yet, he said. I know, she replied. But we're free. She turned to him. Do you think someone like me could ever live a normal life? We'll find out, Liam said. He held out his hand. And this time, she took it without fear. He chose to free the monster, or was she an angel? The small ship flew through the black sea of space. Stars blinked around them like quiet witnesses. Behind them, the space station grew smaller and smaller, until it became just another light among many. Inside the ship, Liam sat at the controls. His hands were shaking slightly, but his eyes stayed locked on the radar screen. Every second, he checked if they were being followed. They weren't. Not yet, but he knew it wouldn't stay that way for long. Lyra sat in the co-pilot's seat, silent, staring out the window. Her silver eyes were wide, almost like a child seeing the world for the first time. You okay? Liam asked softly. She nodded. I've never seen space like this. Not through glass. Not like this. What do you mean? I've only seen it from behind bars, or through screens. Never. Like this. She reached out and touched the glass gently, as if afraid it might disappear. Liam looked at her, not as a prisoner or an alien or a weapon, but just as a girl seeing freedom for the very first time. And in that moment, he didn't feel like he had rescued her. He felt like she was the one rescuing him. They traveled in silence for a while. Then Lyra turned to him and asked, Where are we going? There's an old mining moon, Liam said. It was abandoned years ago. No patrols. No cameras. No people. Just quiet. We can hide there. For how long? Liam didn't answer right away. As long as we need to. The ship landed hours later on a cold, rocky surface. The moon was gray and silent. Ruins of old mining machines were scattered across the land like broken bones. Inside a small metal outpost, they found shelter. Dust covered everything. The air was stale but breathable. Lyra walked through the empty room slowly, her footsteps soft. It's quiet, she said. Too quiet, Liam asked. No, just peaceful. They spent the next day setting up the place. Liam fixed the power generator. Lyra cleaned out the sleeping pods. They shared food packs, drank old water from the purifier, and talked under the low metal ceiling. And for the first time since they met, there was no fear between them. That night, they sat outside the outpost, under a sky full of stars. Lyra looked up and whispered, I used to wonder if stars were real, or just lights made to keep me calm. They're real, Liam said, and now you're under them. She smiled, then turned serious. Why did you really help me, Liam? I told you, you're not a monster. But I've killed people. So have soldiers. So have leaders. The difference is, you didn't choose it. They made you into something you never wanted to be. She stayed quiet. You saved me from Raxon, he added. You didn't have to. But you did. I didn't want you to die, she said softly. Why? Elira looked at him, then away. Because you're the first person who looked at me and didn't see a weapon. The next morning, Liam was repairing the communication jammer they had installed on the roof. Elira stood at the edge of the cliff nearby, watching the stars fade into the dull orange light of the moon's day cycle. Suddenly, the wind changed. Dust lifted. The ground trembled slightly. Liam felt it too. He ran to her. "What's wrong?" he asked. She didn't move, just pointed. Above them, in the far sky, a patrol drone. It hovered for only a moment, then flew away. But that was enough. "They found us," Elira said, her voice low. Liam cursed under his breath. "They'll come with ships. We have maybe 2 hours," she added. "Then we have to go." "No," she said. He turned to her sharply. "What?" "We can't keep running, Liam. They'll chase us forever. Unless what?" Elira looked at her hands. "Unless they see that I'm not what they say I am." Liam didn't understand. "You want to talk to them? After everything they've done?" "No, I want to show them. Not fight them. Not kill them. Just stand and let them see. They'll shoot first. Maybe. But if I run, I'll always be a monster in their eyes." Liam took a step closer to her. "If you do this, I'm standing with you." She looked surprised. "Why?" He smiled sadly. "Because I believe you're not a monster, and I won't let them take that away from you again." Later, when the ships arrived, they stood together, just the two of them, in front of the old outpost, on a quiet moon. Against the dark shape of warships in the sky, a voice came from the speakers. "Elira of Cell 9, surrender now, or we will open fire." She stepped forward, raised her hands, and said softly, "I'm not your weapon anymore." The soldiers didn't respond. Then a blast. But not from them. From her. A wave of pure energy rolled out from her body. Not to kill. Not to hurt. Just to push. The shockwave gently knocked over the nearest ship. No one died. But everyone saw. She could have destroyed them. But she didn't. And somewhere in the silence that followed, someone whispered, "Maybe she's not a monster. Maybe she's an angel." The truth about her powers, and why he's immune. The sky over the mining moon had gone quiet again. The warships hovered above like frozen shadows, unsure what to do. Soldiers stayed behind their barriers, watching with confused eyes. They had all seen it. Elira could have destroyed them, but she didn't. Instead, she stood in the open, hands raised, beside a human who refused to leave her side. That human was Liam. Inside the ruined outpost, later that night, Liam cleaned a cut on his arm from falling debris. Elira sat nearby, silent, staring at the stars through a broken window. "Do you think they'll come back?" she asked. "They always do," Liam said. "And next time?" He paused. "We'll be ready." She nodded slowly, then looked down at her hands again, the hands that had killed so many. "They didn't shoot," she whispered. "They didn't know how," Liam replied. "You scared them, not by killing, but by showing them mercy." Elira closed her eyes. Maybe that's worse for them. The next day, Liam started checking the ship again. It had taken some damage from the energy blast. A small fuel line had cracked. As he worked, Elira approached him with a strange look in her eyes. "Can I ask you something personal?" she said. "Sure," Liam replied without looking up. "Has anyone in your family ever worked in the human gen labs?" He paused. "Why?" he asked, turning to face her. "Your DNA," she said quietly. "Your blood. It's different." "Different how?" "I couldn't feel your fear." He blinked. "What do you mean?" "When I touched others," she explained, I could feel their panic. Their fear made my body react. It was like a key unlocking the poison in me. But when I touched you, she stepped closer, gently touched his hand. Nothing. Liam stared at her, confused but calm. You felt warm, calm, like the fear couldn't find a place to grow. Later, she asked for a sample of his blood. He agreed. Using a small scanner from the ship's medkit, Alara studied the sample with surprising skill. You know how to read this? Liam asked. I was trained, she said, to understand everything about biology. I had to know why I was different. Hours passed. She compared her data with his. Then suddenly, she gasped. What is it? Liam asked. I know why you're immune. He leaned in. Your DNA carries a code from Project Alpha Mercy. It was a secret project designed to make humans resistant to emotion-based bioweapons. What kind of project was that? He asked. One your grandfather helped build, she said. Liam's mouth fell open. My grandfather was a scientist, he whispered. He died before I was born. I never knew much about his work. He was one of the few who believed weaponized empathy could be reversed. What does that mean? He believed creatures like me could be cured. Alara's voice shook as she continued. They tried to use me as a weapon, but I was created with two parts, one to destroy and one to feel. They activated the destroy side, she said softly, but they never expected the other side to survive. She touched her heart, but it did, somehow. She looked at Liam again. When you touched me, that other side grew stronger. Silence filled the outpost, just the hum of the old generators. So what happens now? Liam asked. We prove them wrong, Alara said. We prove I can live without killing. And if they don't believe it, then we keep trying, somewhere, somehow. That night, while Liam slept, Alara stood outside under the stars. She held a small device in her hand. It blinked softly. She whispered into it. This is Alara, Bioweapon Designation 9. I am alive. I have not killed in 7 days. I have felt laughter, fear, peace, and love. She paused. This is my proof. She sent the message into the void to anyone who might be listening. Back inside, Liam stirred. He saw her shadow standing outside the window. Can't sleep, he asked. I don't need to, she replied. I was built for battle, not for rest. Well, he said, sitting up, you're not in battle anymore. She smiled faintly. Maybe that's why my heart feels so strange. How? It feels full. Suddenly, an alert blinked on the console. Liam rushed over. Someone responded to your message. Alara's eyes widened. Who? Liam read the signal. It's encrypted, but it's from Earth's underground peace network. They want to meet. Where? Planet Tethos. Neutral ground. Alara smiled slowly. Then maybe, she whispered, we have a future after all. They hunted her like a weapon, but he saw a woman. The moon's soft light touched the surface of the quiet outpost. Wind passed through broken towers, carrying the dust of old battles. Inside, Liam sat at the ship's controls, reviewing the encrypted message again and again. It had come from the Earth Peace Network, an underground group that didn't believe in war, weapons, or using living beings as tools. They wanted to meet Alara. But not everyone wanted peace. Far away, across the stars, a transmission was sent. It didn't come from Earth. It came from the ones who created her. The secret lab. The scientists who built her. The military officers who used her. They had been watching, tracking her energy signature since the moment she escaped. Now, they were sending their answer. Not a message. A death squad. 3 bounty hunters flew in silent formation. Their ship was black and fast. No lights, no ID. They had one mission. Capture the girl. Kill the human. Bring the weapon back. Their leader, a tall man in red armor, read the file with cold eyes. Target name: Elira. Subject 9. Kill touch active. Current behavior: unpredictable. Human engineer possibly compromised. Use any force necessary. Back on the mining moon, Liam and Elira prepared for their trip to planet Tethos. This place saved us, Liam said, but it won't protect us forever. Nothing does, Elira replied, her voice soft. But I'm ready to try. She walked beside him, her steps light, her silver eyes brighter than before. Something had changed in her. She no longer looked like a prisoner. She looked like a person becoming free. That evening, while Liam loaded supplies onto the ship, Elira returned to the cliff where they had stood together before. She stood quietly, breathing in the cold air. Then she heard it, a sound behind her. Not Liam, not the wind, something else. She turned and saw the red-armored bounty hunter. He fired a net gun. She jumped aside, but it struck her shoulder. The net wrapped around her with flashing electric wires. She fell. Pain surged through her body. Still, she rolled and pressed her palm to the ground. A pulse of energy exploded, throwing the attacker back. But two more came from behind. One used a gas grenade. The other hit her with a sonic weapon. She screamed, once, then collapsed. They'd bound her hands, dragged her to their ship. Liam heard the sound of engines too late. He ran outside, just in time to see the bounty hunter ship disappear into the sky. No, he shouted, falling to his knees. She was gone. They had taken her. Again. But this time, Liam didn't freeze. He stood up. His hands shook, but his eyes were clear. He went back to the outpost, opened the hidden panel under the control desk. Inside it was a beacon. Old, illegal, but powerful. He set the signal, not to the military, not to the lab, but to the peace network on Tethos. He sent one message. They took her. I need your help. Inside the bounty hunter ship, Elira sat in a dark cell. Her hands were cuffed, not just with chains, but emotion locks, tech that suppressed her energy. She felt weak, but not broken. The red-armored man entered her cell. He stared at her for a long moment, then spoke. They were wrong about you. She didn't reply. You didn't kill anyone since you escaped. Not unless you had to. Still silence. You know what that makes you? He asked. She looked up. What? A liability. He raised his hand and struck her across the face. Back on the moon, Liam launched the ship. He followed their energy trail across the stars. He didn't care how strong they were. He didn't care if he died. All he knew was, she saved him. Now he would save her. The peace network on Tethos responded. They rerouted Liam's ship, gave him access to hidden flight paths, gave him a way to reach the bounty ship before it returned to the lab. We don't have weapons, the Tethos leader said over the radio. But we believe in her, and in you. Elira sat in her cell, bleeding slightly from the face. She felt the ship moving, getting closer to the lab, closer to being turned back into a tool. Then the lights flickered. Alarms rang. Outside, Liam had boarded their ship. He moved like a man with nothing to lose, with only one goal: bring her back. He used old maintenance tunnels in the ship's design, paths he learned from years working space systems. He dodged guards, stunned one, until he reached the cell. She was inside. Her eyes lit up. You came, she said. Of course I did. But the locks. I know. He stepped forward, activated a shock pulse from the stolen guard gear, and disabled the emotion cuffs. Her power surged back in an instant. She stood up, stronger, brighter, free. Then the red-armored man arrived, blaster drawn. He looked at Elira. If you walk out of here, the world will see you as a threat again. She looked at Liam. He nodded. Then she turned to the man and said, "Let them see what I choose to be." She raised her hand, not to kill, but to create a shield. She blasted the wall, opened a hole in the ship. Liam and Alyra escaped together, jumping onto their own vessel before the bounty ship collapsed in sparks. As they flew toward Tethos, Liam turned to her. "You didn't kill him." "I didn't need to," she replied. "I'm not a weapon anymore." He smiled. "You're not. You're something better." Her touch could kill a planet, but her love saved a galaxy. The world of Tethos shimmered like a blue pearl beneath their ship. As Liam guided their small vessel into orbit, Alyra stood by the window, her eyes locked on the planet. She had never seen a place like it before. No weapons, no warships, no labs or cages, just sky, forest, water, and life. "Is this real?" she whispered. "As real as you," Liam replied. She didn't answer, but her heart did. It beat faster, not in fear, but in hope. They landed at a hidden base in the mountains. It was simple, quiet, a sanctuary built by people who believed in peace, even when the galaxy didn't. The Peace Network welcomed them. Scientists, doctors, refugees, children of war, survivors. No one stared at her like a monster. They looked at her like a person, and that scared her more than anything. An older woman named Dr. Kita stepped forward. Her hair was silver, her eyes kind, and her voice steady. "You are the first," she told Alyra. "First what?" Alyra asked. "First weapon to walk in peace. First storm to choose to become rain." Alyra lowered her head. "I'm not sure I deserve peace." "Peace isn't about what you deserve," Dr. Kita said gently. "It's about what you choose." In the days that followed, Alyra stayed on Tethos. She walked its forests, sat by its rivers, learned to plant seeds instead of fear. She and Liam helped repair the broken shields around the sanctuary. They worked side by side, laughed in quiet moments, and slept beneath the same sky. Each day, she felt more like herself, and less like the weapon they once forced her to be. But peace never comes without challenge. One morning, as the sun rose over the mountains, a broadcast echoed through the galaxy. The Galactic Council, the rulers of many worlds, had discovered her survival. They demanded her surrender. They claimed she was too dangerous. They warned that if she didn't appear before the council, they would send a fleet to Tethos. The Peace Network had no army, only voices, and they turned to her. "What will you do?" Liam asked that night, as they sat by a fire under the stars. Alyra didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, "I'll go." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. I need to show them what I've become." The next day, she stood before a camera. Live transmission, across planets, stations, ships, billions of eyes. Her voice was calm. "My name is Alyra. You once called me Subject 9. A weapon, a danger, a thing to fear." She paused. "But I'm more than what you made me." Images played behind her, peaceful ones, of her walking through the trees, of her laughing, of her planting seeds with children, of her holding Liam's hand. "I was built to destroy with a single touch," she said, "but today I choose not to touch with fear, but with love." The council was silent. Then, slowly, responses came in. One by one, planets, leaders, even soldiers. Some still feared her, but others began to believe. Not because of her power, but because of her choice. Later that night, as the stars blinked above the sanctuary, Liam found her sitting alone on the hillside. He sat beside her. "You changed the galaxy today," he said. "I just told the truth," she replied. "No," he smiled. "You lived it." She turned to him. "Liam," she said softly, "what am I now?" He thought for a moment, then whispered, "You're not a weapon. You're not a monster. You're a miracle." She reached for his hand. He took it without fear. Their fingers touched, and for the first time in a very long time, she didn't feel like something dangerous. She just felt human. Far across the galaxy, in the very lab where she was created, scientists watched the broadcast. The lead creator stood in silence. He turned off the screen and whispered, "We tried to build a perfect weapon, and we failed." He looked down, regret in his eyes, because we accidentally created a perfect heart. From that day forward, stories of a girl who could kill with a touch, but chose instead to heal, spread across star systems. She became a symbol, not of fear, but of change. And Liam stayed beside her, not as a savior, not as a protector, but as a friend, a partner, and maybe something more. Because in the end, it wasn't her power that saved the galaxy. It was her choice to love.